In a small, unremarkable town nestled at the foot of a mountain range, there lay a hidden network of tunnels, long forgotten by the world above. These tunnels, dug by miners seeking fortune decades ago, were now shrouded in darkness and neglect, their entrances concealed by the overgrown foliage of the forest that had reclaimed the land. Few dared to venture near, for the townsfolk spoke in hushed whispers of the strange occurrences that surrounded them, of the eerie sounds that echoed through the trees at night, and of the insects that swarmed in clouds above the entrances. Once, a group of thrill-seeking teenagers, intoxicated by the allure of adventure and the promise of stories to tell, decided to explore the dark recesses of these forgotten tunnels. Armed with flashlights and bravado, they made their way through the dense underbrush, laughing and teasing each other as they approached the gaping maw of the tunnel. The air grew cooler as they stepped inside, the walls slick with moisture, the ground uneven beneath their feet. Their laughter faded into uneasy silence, swallowed by the oppressive darkness that surrounded them. As they ventured deeper, the walls seemed to close in, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and decay. The faint sound of water dripping echoed in the distance, a rhythmic reminder of the world outside. But it was not the sound of water that soon filled the tunnels, it was the low, unsettling hum of countless insects. The noise reverberated through the passages, growing louder, more insistent, as though the very earth beneath them was alive and aware of their presence. With every step, the temperature dropped further, and an unseen presence seemed to linger just beyond the reach of their flashlights. The beam of light danced along the walls, illuminating patches of slick moss and the occasional glint of mineral deposits, but it also revealed the unsettling sight of insect nests, thick clusters of chitinous bodies, pulsating as though breathing. The teenagers recoiled at the sight, their minds racing with thoughts of what might dwell within those writhing masses. They pressed on, a mix of fear and curiosity propelling them deeper into the bowels of the earth. As they navigated the winding passages, they stumbled upon a cavern, vast and foreboding. The air hummed with activity, thick clouds of insects swirling in the dim light of their flashlights. The sight was mesmerizing yet grotesque, an endless tide of wriggling bodies, beetles, ants, and moths, all coiling and intertwining in a chaotic dance. One of the teenagers, entranced by the spectacle, stepped closer, drawn in by an instinctive curiosity. The others called out to him, warning him to be cautious, but the pull was irresistible. As he crossed the threshold into the cavern, the atmosphere shifted. The humming intensified, morphing into a cacophony of clicks and buzzes that filled the air with a sinister energy. He felt the ground shift beneath his feet, a subtle tremor that sent shivers down his spine. Suddenly, from the depths of the cavern, a new sound emerged, a deep, resonating thrum that reverberated through the stone. The teenagers turned to flee, panic igniting their instincts, but it was too late. The ground beneath them shook violently, and a swarm of insects erupted from the walls, pouring forth like a wave. They were larger than any insects they had seen before, their bodies glistening in the dim light, their multifaceted eyes reflecting a primal intelligence. The teenagers ran, but the swarm enveloped them, a seething mass of chitin and fury. The air was thick with the sound of their wings beating, a deafening roar that drowned out their screams. They stumbled through the tunnels, trying to escape the relentless tide, but the insects pursued them with an unyielding hunger. It was as though the very tunnels were alive, guiding the swarm to their prey. One by one, they were overwhelmed. The swarm consumed them, dragging them down into the depths of the earth, their frantic struggles muffled beneath the cacophony of buzzing and clicking. The last teenager, a girl who had once laughed in the face of danger, felt the weight of their fate crash upon her. She was alone now, surrounded by a darkness that pulsed with life, the echoes of her friend's screams still ringing in her ears. In the chaos, she stumbled upon a wall lined with strange carvings, etched into the stone by hands long gone. They depicted the story of the insects, ancient guardians of the earth, feeding on the life force of those who dared to disturb their slumber. The tunnels had once been a sacred place, a burial ground for lost souls, now desecrated by intruders seeking adventure. Desperation surged within her. She turned and ran, hoping against hope to find an exit, to escape the wrath of the insect guardians. But the swarm had already claimed its prize, and she could feel their presence closing in around her, an oppressive weight that threatened to snuff out her existence. The ground trembled as the mass surged toward her, a living entity intent on reclamation. Just as she felt the first touch of their cold, chitinous bodies, a blinding light erupted from the cavern entrance, illuminating the tunnel in a stark, white glow. The light was suffocating, and the insects recoiled, momentarily stunned by the intrusion. It was a rescue team, drawn by the frantic shouts of the remaining friends who had fled to seek help. The girl stumbled toward the light, her heart racing as she reached the threshold of the cavern. But even as she emerged into the safety of daylight, she could feel the lingering presence of the swarm, the vibrations of their anger echoing through the ground beneath her feet. The rescue team pulled her away, their shouts filling the air as they rushed her to safety. Yet, in her heart, she knew that the tunnels were alive, and they would never forget the trespassers who had disturbed their slumber. Weeks later, the town began to notice changes. The insects that had once been an ordinary part of the ecosystem transformed. They grew larger, their colors more vibrant, their behavior increasingly aggressive. The townsfolk found themselves swarmed by hordes of insects, drawn inexplicably to their homes, their gardens, their very lives. The streets filled with whispers of curses, of ancient forces awakened from their slumber, demanding sacrifice. And in the shadows, the forgotten tunnels remained, a silent reminder of the price paid for disturbing the ancient guardians. Each night, the hum of the insects grew louder, echoing through the town, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lay beneath, waiting for the next unwitting souls to wander too close, to become part of the cycle, to feed the insatiable hunger of the earth. The insects had claimed their revenge, and the townsfolk would never forget.